All right, perfect. So this is our annual paperwork meeting for dual enrollment. And for my choice teachers, I kept y'all on, but I'm going to let y'all go in just a few minutes because I think it really needs to be two separate meetings because the policies and procedures and paperwork is going to be really different for both of y'all. So I just wanted to cover a couple of things communally. And then I'm going to let my choice people go and we're going to meet maybe for like a half hour after one of our training sessions this week because y'all are all new this year. So y'all are all in the training. Um, so first of all, for those of you who are returning teachers, you might continue to hear me say choice and facilitator dual enrollment. And so I just wanted to make sure that everyone was clear on the two different modalities and to be clear on which type your school was offering. So in the past, all of our dual enrollment has been called our dual enrollment facilitator model. So, or just our dual enrollment program. Since we added the choice credit model, we've kind of started to try to differentiate the two to say it's the dual enrollment facilitator model and the dual enrollment choice model. Okay, so essentially, the two courses are identical. They're both dual enrollment. They're both going to do the same projects. They all have the same rubrics. They all have the same everything. Okay. Um, there are a couple of key differences. So in the facilitator model, the students are truly dually enrolled. So they are enrolled at their high school and they submit an application to LSU. They meet the admissions requirement. They get admitted to LSU as it's a they're kind of freshmen, but kind of not. They have their own little categorization, but they are actually officially admitted to LSU. They get an 89 number, which is the student ID number, and they are enrolled in the course. They have to follow the drop deadlines. So basically, after the 14th class day, a student has to decide if they want to be in the class or not. Past the 14th class day, they are in the class, they get charged tuition, and they get either an A, a B, a C, a D, an F, or they have the option for a W. Like those are the only options after the 14th class day. Okay. In the choice credit of dual enrollment, the students are not actually dually enrolled. Okay. So the terminology for dual enrollment for the choice credit is something that the Board of Regents has decided fits under the umbrella of dual enrollment, but the students are not actually enrolled at the institution. So the way that it works, the students are taking the class in the high school, they are enrolled in the course content, essentially. So this is an asynchronous online course that is developed for the class, but they are not actually enrolled at the university. So they are not officially in the school mainframe. They kind of exist in a shadow world, which is why we're having so many problems with the Moodle and the LBRN platform and trying to figure out where to host these students because in a math class, they have My Math Lab, and basically the whole course is run through My Math Lab. And in other programs, they have Moodle classes already set up, and so, but even that, we're having a lot of pushback that the university doesn't want to host these Moodle courses that are not being uh, attended by students who are truly enrolled at the university. So in the choice credit model, the students still go through a registration process, but it's a different one than the traditional dual enrollment students. Um, they get enrolled in the course, which will hopefully be the LBRN course platform. They will go through all of the course material and then at the end, they get to decide if they want to transcript the credit or not. So basically, they will get a grade in the course and they will say, they're going to get a letter from LSU and say, hey, you have 5 days to decide if you want to have this credit transcripted or not. And then they go. So basically, they are not guaranteed to get a college grade. In the other method, like they're guaranteed to get a grade, whether it's good or bad, is up to the student, but they will get a grade. They are enrolled, and that course will show up on their college transcript, either as an A, B, C, D, F, or a W. In the choice credit option, they all enroll in the course. They all get charged tuition, so it's the same tuition. You're not saving any money by doing one version or the other. Okay, because everyone is charged tuition whether or not they decide to transcript the credit. The only difference is that you have a choice at the end, whether or not you're going to get that grade. So because of those differences, there are going to be different registration systems, because you have to register in the true LSU mainframe. One, you have to register in a different portal. One, you're going to have all of these hard and fast deadlines. Like this is the 14th class. Actually, both of them have the 14th class day, right? So up until the 14th class day, and that's the 14th LSU class day, which is usually right before Labor Day, because LSU starts quite a bit later than the traditional high schools. So the students have up until just about Labor Day to decide if they want to be in the class, in either modality, with no penalty and no tuition charged. Okay. So and I'm looking up the date right now to get you the exact date. We will be sending you guys emails with these dates. But it is, oh, wait, no, those are the 24, 25 dates. Did we get the new dates this year? I might not have been emailed the dates yet. Usually someone sends me the dates. I don't think I got the dates this year. But I will be posting the dates and sharing those dates with you guys. But either choice or dual enrollment, it's that 14th class day. No penalty, no grade on their transcript regardless, no W, nothing. It's like it never happened. And more importantly, no tuition. Okay. Anyone who's in the class after that 14th class day will be charged tuition. Okay. And it's $100 a credit hour. How that tuition is paid for depends on your school policy. So when your school completed the memorandum of understanding for the traditional model, I think that they actually indicated on that memorandum of understanding who is paying the tuition. Is it the school paying it in one check? Is it the individual students paying for it themselves? And sending. So I think regardless, we still accept just like one check from the school, because our agreement is with the school. Okay, the agreement is not with an individual student or a parent. So if your students are responsible for the tuition, which is pretty common practice in the private schools because you guys don't have as much access to the state funding, you guys collect that money and then you send LSU a check. Okay, so I think in the traditional dual enrollment memorandum of understanding, that's actually a question that gets asked. In the choice credit model, I don't think it's part of the actual contract, and you guys, I'm not 100% sure where you indicate your payment preferences, but I will get clarification on that prior to our kind of second meeting where we'll go over those policies and procedures. And maybe Caleb went over those. Edie, I don't know, were you in the choice program meeting on that first Monday? Did he go over the payment stuff? You're on mute.
He didn't go over it like specifically. It was more of broad topics talked about. I didn't realize I was in choice at that time. I know that sounds crazy, but it's my first time. And now that you told me I'm choice, I'm started writing everything down. So now I'm listening to everything better.
Yeah. And choice is a new program that started about 2 years ago, I think, and it's the first year that we're doing it for intro to engineering. So this is all like a real learning process for us and for y'all and for everyone. So please ask questions because there's a lot I don't know about Choice and about their policies and procedures, even though we're like all out of the Kane Center. Because it's so new, part of what we're doing is building the ship while it's, sailing. So there might be some questions that y'all have that we just haven't gotten to, we haven't thought about, we haven't, we have to figure it out. Um, but after that 14th class day, all of the students who are registered will be charged tuition. So what that means is that regardless of whether you are enrolling your students in the choice portal or in the mainframe through the facilitator model, the students have to be in by that 14th class day, or else they will not be able to take the class for dual enrollment credit. They can stay in the class, they can do they have to do all of the same work as all of the students, but they will not have an opportunity to earn college credit. Okay, so that is like a hard and fast deadline. I have no control over it. Again, I don't know the exact date, but I will get that to you. You will be sent email reminders, a week before, 2 weeks before. So, as the semester goes, you will get those reminders. And typically, the point of contact at the school is going to have access to see like who's actually registered in the system. So we try to funnel everything through the point of contact. So if you don't know who the point of contact is at your school, drop me a chat and I can answer that for you. But rather than have, 8 different people have access to all the things, we typically at the registration point, we try to have a single person who handles all of the dual enrollment at that school. So if all we're offering at your school is this class, then you can be the point of contact. If your school's offering, you don't have to be, but you can be the point of contact. Um, so whoever it is, if you are like, hey, I don't think it should be that person. I want to be the point of contact. Like if intro to engineering is the only class you're offering, that works. If you're offering more than that, it's typically an administrator. Okay, so this is typically the point of contact is typically going to be some sort of administrator, assistant principal, dean of students, counselors, because that point of contact is going to be responsible for viewing the student list. So who has actually submitted an application and what is their status? So did they start an application and not hit send? Did they actually submit the application? Because we have all sorts, the students will like log in, but they don't actually like do the process because in both choice and facilitator model, the enrollment is student driven. So the students have to initiate the registration process. You will get slide decks with screenshots and step-by-step instructions. But it is student driven. So we get a lot of schools that ask us, can a counselor enroll the students in the dual enrollment class? And the answer is no. So the students have to initiate the process in both modalities to be able to do it because they have to waive their FERPA rights because they're enrolling in a college credit. So we have to be able to share grades and information and things of that nature. So because it is a college course. And so they have to actually do the registration process. However, it then goes to the point of contact, which again is typically a counselor, for them to load the student eligibility documents. So for this class, for both types of modalities, the eligibility is a 2.5 GPA and a letter of recommendation from a counselor. Okay, so that's why we don't allow first semester freshmen to take the class because they don't have a high school GPA that is truly from high school. They might have taken Algebra 1 in 8th grade, or they might have taken French 1 in 8th grade, but we want them to have a real semester of high school credit under their belt to have a real high school GPA, even if it's only for that full semester. And so the point of contact is going to be responsible for loading the transcript and the letter of recommendation. We have a form that's super simple. It's just like, yep, recommend. Like, so you can write your own or you can use our form for that letter of recommendation. I would recommend our form. It's because it's very simple. We're not looking for we're not really looking for a letter, like a written letter that's like, I love this person, look what they do all after school, look at it's just like, do I think this kid can step up and do the work? So it's called a letter of recommendation, but it's really more like a, a recommendation checkbox. And so the point of contact has to load all of that information, and all of that has to be in before that 14th class day, because when I say the kids have to be enrolled, I mean they have to be enrolled. So the steps of the process for both programs, the students submit an application, the point of contact is going to load the required documentation, and then LSU is going to review that and then admit them. And admit means two different things. So admit in the facilitator model means actually admit them to LSU. Admit in the choice program means admit them to the class. Okay, but they're not actually going to be admitted to LSU as a student. They're not going to get an 8-9 number. They are just admitted into the class. But that has to be done by that 14th class day. So in the fall semester, you get a long time to do that because you will be sent the instructions on or around August 1st. And typically, I'm sorry, so in the fall semester, it happens kind of fast. In the spring semester, you have a lot more time. You get the instructions on or around August 1st. And then the drop deadline is, like I said, somewhere around Labor Day. So you really, you usually don't get your kids until around August 10th. So you kind of have like a 2 or 3 week window to get all your kids enrolled and get all of their documents loaded by the point of contact, who is maybe you, maybe someone else. That sounds like a long time. You're like 2 to 3 weeks, no problem. But the kids are that first week, the kids are still switching schedules, like it's chaos, right? So it's a little bit of a tight time frame to get the kids enrolled and get all their documents loaded. In the spring, you get a little bit more time because that information is typically sent out to the point of contact December 1st. And then they have until the 14th class day of the spring semester to do it. So the name of the game is really to get all the kids like registered and get their stuff loaded before you leave for Christmas break. If you're teaching the same students fall and spring, you already have them in your classroom. It's fairly simple to go ahead and say, okay, registration for dual enrollment is now open. Like, let's get in the system. If you're on a block schedule, it might be harder because you don't really see those kids in a classroom setting until January 10th or January 5th or so. So sometimes it's a little bit harder to get them in the system that way. Okay, but that is really generally the process. The kids apply, the point of contact loads the relevant documents, the kids get admitted, whatever that means, right, based on each program. And then we will typically do a roster verification. So a roster check to say, hey, just double checking, like these are the official students who will be billed and who are enrolled in the program. Speak now or forever hold your peace. And like after that date, there's no negotiation because it's like that's a university date or deadline. So we get a lot of people sob stories. Oh, like a student missed the deadline, or they thought they submitted the application and they didn't. And so that's where you guys kind of help facilitate that process and make sure that all of the students get in the system. Okay. And I'm intentionally not going over what that specifically looks like because it looks different for each of your programs. So after I let my choice people go, I will show you guys the facilitator version, and then my choice people will do separately. Let's see. Where did my tab go? Okay. Oh, in terms of instructors of record, so I am an instructor of record, and then Kim Kaufman is also an instructor of record. We split it up just because there's more than 25 or 30 sections this year between the dual enrollment choice and facilitator. So we swap out, or we've divided and conquered. So either Kim or I will be your instructor of record, and we will assign those over the next few weeks so that you'll know what that looks like. Like I said, as of right now, our plan is to use the LBRN platform for both choice and dual enrollment. Assuming that gets to a good place. If it doesn't get to a good place, then both will be using Moodle. But it should look the same. So submit the lab report and presentation. The new thing is to submit the engineering notebooks, and then we're going to build in the quizzes this year so that all of those graded assignments are in a single course platform. Cheating and academic dishonesty. So this class, it's not so much of a problem because the kids can, like it's really hard to cheat because they are essentially doing their own work in the projects. And really the only opportunity they have to cheat are the quizzes. But they really shouldn't need to. I mean, like they're not difficult quizzes. So we do have an academic policy. We have kind of different manuals for each group. So what I'm trying to think if I want to go over those together. Okay, let's see. S- This already opened. Slip of paper. Oops, way too good. Oh, one thing I did want to mention, so dual enrollment is different than concurrent enrollment. So if you guys have heard that term, or if you've maybe been part of other programs, so at LSU, concurrent enrollment is something where the kids will typically actually come to campus and take classes. This is typically like seniors who have completely exhausted a math sequence at their school. So for example, like if you have one student who needs to take Calc 2 or Calc 3 and you're not able to offer that, they could join the concurrent enrollment process or program. And that is basically like a one-on-one student thing. So I just want to mention that, like, if you hear anyone talk about concurrent enrollment in the eyes of LSU, it is not the same as the dual enrollment program. So you will never hear us refer to this as concurrent enrollment. Just some key personnel. So the choice credit point of contact from an administrative standpoint is Jonathan Gardner. So I'm going to put his contact information is here. J, it's J Garth 535. Okay, so Jonathan is your point of contact for all things like paperwork processing. You will probably get emails from him. If you're doing the choice credit, there's like a little Moodle training that you'll have to go through. If you are in the choice or in the facilitator model, it has been Phoebe Rouse, but this year it is someone new. It is Sherry Goings. I get Sherry's email address for y'all. And this is just so that y'all have contact information. So these are the like program managers, right? These are at the high level for each of the programs. So they're the ones who can answer all of the logistical questions, those kinds of things. Then you're gonna have, so that's kind of like the highest level of the program. It's gonna be the program director. Then you have the department coordinator. So for engineering, that's me. So I'm, even though I might be the instructor of record for only some sections, I am the College of Engineering dual enrollment coordinator, which means I sign off on all of the memorandums of understanding. I kind of manage who's doing what. The next level down is the instructor of record. So we are going to be the ones. So Kim and I are both instructors of records. We are assigned to each of your particular schools, and we will be in charge of doing the classroom visits, either in person or virtual, hopefully as in person as much as possible. Typically we do that once per semester, to just, and it's super informal. We just like to chat with the kids, chat with you, see what projects they like, what they don't like. That's where we get a lot of our feedback from, and a lot of our revisions to the curriculum, to say like, hey, this isn't working. Hey, like every single kid I talk to hates this project. Can we switch it? You know, things of that nature. So we try to visit everyone at least once during your dual enrollment semester for that classroom visit. But it's low stakes. Like we don't need the dog and pony show for like your compass observations. If you're public school, you know, like you know what that is. If you're private, I don't know that y'all have compass observations, but you might have some sort of accountability to your administrative team. But it's super low stakes. A lot of times, teachers like to use that as an opportunity to have me as a guest speaker for industrial engineering. So I'm happy to do that as well. So it's kind of like a combo, like observation slash chit chat. And I hate to even use the word observation because it's really more just like, I like to see what the kids are doing. I like to have them show off their work. I like to, you know, it is an opportunity for me to provide feedback. So like if I see something that I'm like, oh, this isn't really the way it should be, like then I can kind of flag that early. And so Kim is the other instructor of record. So we try to group things geographically so that when we go do school visits, we can kind of hit like 2 or 3 schools at a time if we're all in that region. So Kim tends to have Ascension in New Orleans. I have Baton Rouge and Tangipahoa typically. I'm not saying it would always be like that. And then I'll have all of the choice people. So because y'all are all new this year, I tend to try to take all of the new people. And so yeah, that's scheduled observation. You'll have advance notice, and it's again not an observation in the uh world of crazy observations that you I don't need a dog and pony show. I want to see the real life situation. I'm not judging y'all. I won't share my comments with your administrators unless you want me to. So it's yeah, low key. And so that's for both choice and facilitator. So I think that's the hierarchy, I guess, of the chain of command here at LSU. So Kim and I are the people who you would go to for any curriculum questions. We will also be in the learning management platform, whatever that is. And typically we try to provide feedback on the student submissions, like usually something positive and something that they can improve on. For each of the submissions that they have. We try to do at least 1 or 2 per semester. If the numbers are such that we can do more, then we will try to do more. So the kids are actually getting live feedback from their instructors of record, but the primary feedback typically comes from the classroom teachers, since y'all are, you know, live and they're present to be able to give them that feedback. Okay, and then the hierarchy at your school, it's really just you and the point of contact. So whoever the point of contact is at your school is kind of the administrative person. Like I said, they're the ones who load the letter of recommendation and the transcripts, and then you guys are the ones in the classroom. Either we call them the facilitator or the coach. So kind of we have different names because, you know, heaven forbid we use the same name for 2 different programs. So Y'all are the ones who are in the classroom. So those are kind of the uh, roles there. Every school has signed a memorandum of understanding. If you do need to cancel a section, like let's say you wanted to offer this class, but no kids signed up, so you need to cancel it completely. Or if you need to move it from one semester to the next, I think everyone whose choice is doing it in the spring, because y'all are all full year long school. So you're doing the dual enrollment component in the spring. Let's see, Devin, Toby, Shara, y'all are all doing it in the spring. The rest of y'all are 4x4, so I have to look. But if you have a question about what semester you're offering it, just let me know and I can tell you what your school has submitted. Because sometimes what your school submits and on the MOU in like April is not always what ends up being offered during the school year. So basically, if you're getting emails that are saying like, hey, sign your kids up in the fall, and like you're not teaching in the fall, like let us know. And if you are not getting any emails from us and you do have students who you think should be enrolled, like send me an email and be like, hey, I haven't gotten any emails about any registration, like what's happening? Because there's a good chance we have you in the wrong semester because whatever was on the MOU was not updated. Someone had a question. I heard someone talking, say something. Sandy, yeah.
I unmuted. I just wanted to clarify. So, for registration purposes, or I guess, with the choice model, I had kind of mentioned this the other day. If we're doing it technically in the spring, will we still have access to all of the materials? Because I actually would like to do the LSU part in the spring, but I think I had mentioned this the other day. The way that we did the math classes with the choice was it was actually all year.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I would still be able to do that.
Yeah, y'all will have access to the LBRN platform all year, or the Moodle platform, whichever one we end up using. So you'll have access to that platform the whole year, and then the official like registration piece will happen in the spring.
Okay.
Well, I say that somehow we're going to have to get your student list to get them enrolled in the class. So I'm not sure how Jonathan handled that last year. As far as like because he would have had to have your students get into my math lab.
And that's what we did. I'm not really sure. Caleb helped with that. We did like a sort of this separate calendar
Yeah.
where the assignments and all were done and the exams were done based on a school year,
Yeah.
but yet and for Pearson. So I think that was sort of leading up to my, I guess, overall question was, would I be able to have access to the learning management platform and whatnot? Because I'm definitely doing it in the spring, but I need the material in this so that I can do my pacing guide and all of that, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, so everyone has access, will have access to the whole platform for the whole school year, or obviously if you're a 4x4 school, it's just the one semester. But yes, I have to clarify with Jonathan or Caleb about the like registration process and how we are going to have you guys register but not register, right? Like we need to have your student, like we need to know who your students are so we can put them into the learning management platform, but we need to not send that information into the like admission. Yeah, I have to think about what that's going to look like. But the short answer is yes, you will have access to the platform the whole time so that the students can be submitting their work directly. What the registration process looks like, I am not sure yet, and I will have to clarify with Jonathan and Caleb. And whatever I'm for choice, we will 100% need to have another meeting like August 2nd, 3rd, 4th, whatever time frame to go over some of those registration nuances that are not necessarily super clear right now.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a little bit of the behind the scenes I'm not real sure about, but I'm also the point of contact. And so I know that I uploaded each of the students' information into the registration link. And
Right.
I feel like I had to check something that said semester or year long.
I know, but see, this year,
Don't
they,
remember though.
for the reason there's
Right.
confusion, is because for this year, they want us to use Kanuja for which is the platform that the Board of Regents has contracted with to try to have a single point of entry for all dual enrollment, so that the point of contacts, like if y'all are working with Southeastern and Southern and LSU and La Tech, and you're offering dual enrollment at all of those programs, that there's a single place where you would go to enroll for all of those. And so that's what they're wanting us to use for the coming this fall. So if the kids enrolled there, I'm not sure
Okay.
how we do like a pseudo account to say like, yeah, we
You're
need them,
registered.
we need them in August, but we're not gonna like really put them in until, so I have to get some clarification on what that's gonna look like.
Thank you.
Yes, so we'll figure it out, but at the end of the day, everyone will have access, even if I just have to like ask you guys for the, email address of your students, and I manually add them into the learning management system. That is going to be a worst case scenario, but that would be an option. But we will figure it out. But yes, they will have access. Everyone will have access to all of that for the full school year. Okay. So one question we do get about choice is that they're not admitted to LSU, but they do still have to have that 2.5 GPA in the letter of recommendation, which is Board of Regents requirements. So they do still have to meet the traditional dual enrollment eligibility requirements.
So
Mhm.
with choice, they're not going to get an 8-9 number. Is that correct?
Right. So Nicole, y'all are signed up for the traditional model that y'all have been doing for 6 years or whatever.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so y'all are not signed up for choice. Yeah, so Emily, Nicole, Matt, Chris, Aaron, Shara, John, Devin, Toby. Y'all are all facilitator model. And then Edie, Rashawn, Christina, and Sandy, y'all are choice. So just to put that into perspective for you guys. Okay. I think that is everything. I think I lied to y'all because I said I was gonna let the choice people go early, and then here I am still rattling on, and y'all are still in here. But really, I didn't realize how much overlap there would be between the two. I guess I had mentioned cheating and academic misconduct, but didn't really go too deep into that. But if you do have an issue with cheating, it'll typically be on the quiz, but email me and see if it's, we kind of have in the manual, which I don't have the 25-26 version for traditional dual enrollment. I do have it for the choice credit. So I'm going to share my screen. It should be the same for both programs. So let me share my screen. Yeah, so we do have the academic misconduct policy. So obviously we don't want the kids to cheat. And so if there are cheating examples or cheating instances, please let us know, and then we will follow the disciplinary action, which is typically a 0 on the assignment. That's about as far as the disciplinary action goes. But if you report it to me, I submit something formal through the academic policy group that's going to review it. But typically, if it's just a simple case of cheating, then it would be an F on the assignment. If it's like really significant, like the kids have like broken into your grade book and changed everyone's grades to an A, then obviously like that would be a whole different scenario. But I've never had that happen. It's really more just if they cheat on the quiz, then they would get a 0 on that assignment. And I'm going to share this handbook with you. I don't have the facilitator model one, which is why I haven't shared it. And then I just got the choice one a few days ago and I haven't had a chance to read through it. So I need to make sure that I understand it, and then I will definitely share all of those out with you guys. Yeah, I think that covers basically everything that I typically cover. Let me just check one thing. Like I said, I just got this choice credit one. Okay, so they are gonna have a parent approval form. Okay, so it looks like the choice credit program is gonna have a parent approval form. Sandy, did y'all have a parent approval form last year for choice?
Not technically. I mean, I did one in my own program, where I had the parents put in writing, but it wasn't through choice.
Okay,
I
so
had
this,
to have the parents' permission, so I just made sure that I had it for my sake, but not necessarily.
so we have a parent approval form that we've used in our traditional dual enrollment model for many years, and that it seems like from the manual will also be used in the choice credit model. This is something that we give you guys a form. You all send it home to the parents and get their signatures, but you don't ever have to send it back to us. So like Sandy mentioned, it's really more of a CYA for y'all. That you've gotten the parents' approval to participate in the program. So even in the traditional facilitator model, we've never asked for these forms back. A lot of times the point of contact will use that as a way to register the student, or to like verify the student enrollment in the portal. So, a student should not be able to register until they've returned their parent approval form, right? Like, you as a teacher want to make sure that their parents know that they're taking a dual enrollment class prior to participation in the program. Now, the choice credit, it's a little bit less important, I guess, because there really is like zero penalty for the student, like as far as their transcript goes. But if the parents are paying the tuition, then you would certainly want them to know that they are responsible for that tuition. So we do have a sample parent approval form, and typically this is mailed out to the point of contact, like I said, on that August 1st and December 1st deadline. It's a pretty simple form, so it just asks for the student's basic information, and then this is typically customized for your school to only show the courses that the school is offering, not necessarily the courses that the student is eligible to take or that the student is like participating in. So this would be a list of the courses that are at the school, and then the parents would need to sign and write yes here. And then this is the agreement. So again, it's the $100 per credit hour. And the parents do sign. One thing I like to clarify, it does say, like, I understand that I'm responsible for paying the flat rate of 100 unless other arrangements have been made with my school. Okay, so sometimes parents freak out, like, oh, I don't want to, so if you're at a public school, typically this is covered by SCA money, and the parents don't pay tuition. Okay. Another question that I get from the students is, especially in the facilitator model, where they do get officially an 8-9 number and admitted into the university, they do not have student rights. So they don't have access to the UREC. They don't have access to football tickets. They don't have access to any of that stuff. Okay. So they are not actual full-time real students. And so obviously the parent approval form is going to look a little different for choice because there is no drop or withdraw option. But so I need to get copies of this from the choice credit program to see what their parent approval form looks like. The reason we ask for this information at the top is because this is what the information is that they're going to have to put into the registration portal. Like, they're going to have to register, and like, sometimes the kids don't know like a parent phone number, or don't don't know like their birthday or so. I don't know. Like, so we just like to have it all in one place so the kids can kind of like write it down and the parents can check it and verify it. Social is optional. So that used to be a required field for many, many years. And then I think about 8 years ago, it stopped being a required field. So anyway, again, I will have in this dual enrollment folder in the general forms, there will be two folders now. There's gonna be a choice version and a facilitator version. And you can see I still have the old stuff from this past year, and I don't have the choice stuff in here yet because I think some of that stuff is still being developed. Like, for example, I don't have a parent approval form for choice because it's going to look a little bit different than this one. But typically the parent approval form should be used like you send it home, the kids bring it back, then they are eligible to log into the system and register whatever system that is. So then the point of contact, should get that stack of parent approval forms and be able to look at it and say like, hey, so-and-so is enrolled in the class, but I don't have a parent approval form. Like, why are they enrolled in that class? Is it, that I just don't have a copy of the form, but they turned it in? Or did they not bring one in? Or are they like not supposed to be in this class at all? So that point of contact is really a key person for identifying roster discrepancies of whether a student is or is not on the roster and whether they should be there or not. So yeah, that is, I think, the last thing I kind of wanted to go over. And then, like I said, we're going to definitely have to have like a follow-up meeting once the course platform is established, so that I can kind of briefly walk you guys through that, give y'all access, let y'all play around in it. And I'll be creating little demo videos for each of the steps for that. And then I need to get all of the documents from Choice to create those folders. So, are there any questions? All right, yeah, so all my existing facilitators, it's pretty much status quo with the exception of the new learning management system potentially, or the Moodle sections that we're going to try to build in the notebooks and the quizzes into Moodle now, whereas before it was just the lab reports and presentations. So again, there'll be a kind of a follow-up with you guys once that learning management system is finalized. I feel like I've been talking about it for like 2 years and it's still not finalized. But anyway, so any other questions, comments, concerns that you want to share with the group? All right, perfect.